The chamber of the Galactic Council was a vast circle of light and shadow. At the center, the fleet admiral stood tall, his silver uniform shining under the artificial suns. Around him, alien dignitaries whispered, their voices low, filled with both amusement and disbelief. A report had just arrived, one that none of them expected. The admiral raised his eyes to the holoscreen. A line of text glowed across it. Human fleet detected in Sector 9, approaching Deathworld-class planet. The room fell into silence for a brief moment. Then laughter broke out. A dozen alien voices echoed, sharp and mocking. "Humans!" one counselor hissed, his long tendrils curling with humor. "On a death world? They cannot survive. They are fragile. They are nothing." Another leaned forward, eyes glowing green. "Their bodies are weak. Their technology is crude. Sending them there is the same as sending them to their graves." The admiral listened, but his face remained unreadable. His dark eyes did not blink. He had seen many campaigns. He had ordered the destruction of entire colonies. But this was different. The word Deathworld carried weight. It was not just a place. It was a curse. Entire fleets had been lost on such worlds, torn apart by storms, by creatures that defied science, by lands that wanted nothing but death. And yet, humans had chosen to land there. The admiral's voice cut through the laughter like a blade. "Very well. If the humans are foolish enough to test themselves, let them. Send troops. Send the expendable divisions. Let them see what a real battlefield looks like." The council nodded in agreement. Why waste elite soldiers on such a task? The humans would not last. The Deathworld would finish them long before any serious resistance could rise. Orders were sent. Ships launched. An army of alien soldiers crossed the void, their banners glowing bright with arrogance. They believed it would be quick. They believed it would be simple. But far away, on the edge of the Deathworld, something else stirred. The alien landing craft broke through the thick, storm-filled skies. Lightning painted the clouds, tearing them apart with fire. Below, the ground shifted. Forests that seemed alive, rivers that boiled with strange fumes, mountains that roared like beasts. The soldiers tightened their grips on their weapons, but many still smiled. "This world is madness," one of them muttered, pressing a clawed hand to the thick glass. "It will crush the humans before we even find them." Another laughed. "Good. Less work for us." The landing was rough. Winds slammed against the ships like a hammer. Trees the size of towers scraped the hulls. The ground shook as though it rejected the intruders. But finally, the alien troops set foot on the soil of the Deathworld. Their commander raised his weapon high. "Forward! Hunt the humans. Leave none alive." And so they marched. The jungle swallowed them in minutes. Darkness pressed down, even though the sun still shone above. Strange cries echoed through the air. Shadows moved in the leaves, in the water, in the very soil. But the soldiers ignored it. They had orders. They had numbers. Hours passed. No humans. No resistance. Only the weight of the world itself. Then came the first sign. A piece of metal, half buried in the mud. A strange shape of steel and wire. A small flag, half burned, showing colors the aliens did not know. A soldier bent down to pick it up. The ground snapped beneath him. An explosion of hidden spikes shot upward, piercing armor, dragging him into the earth. His scream echoed, then cut off. The troops froze. Eyes darted left and right. What was that? Trap. The commander growled. "Keep moving." They marched on. But the forest grew darker. The cries grew closer. And then the radios began to hiss. At first it was static. Then a whisper. "They are watching." The voice was broken, strange. But it was clear. Not beast. Not storm. A voice. "They are watching you." The soldiers stopped. Fear spread through the ranks. "Commander," one hissed. That was human speech. The commander clenched his jaw. "Impossible. They cannot survive here. They cannot." A shadow moved across the treetops. Silent. Swift. Too fast to be a beast. The soldiers raised their weapons. Nothing. Only silence again. But the whisper returned, stronger. "We are here." The commander's skin turned cold. He could feel it now. They were not the hunters. They were not the strong. Something else waited in the dark. Something that had been born for this world. And as the storm above roared louder, the truth crept into his mind like poison. The humans were not weak. The humans were not prey. The humans were waiting. The jungle of the death world stretched endless in every direction. The alien soldiers moved slowly now, their pride already shaken. Each step cracked branches that oozed strange liquid. Each breath tasted of smoke and iron. Every sound carried weight, as though the world itself listened. Their commander barked orders, but his voice no longer held the same confidence. His eyes scanned the shadows. His claws gripped his weapon tighter than before. He had fought many battles, but none on a place like this. The squad pressed deeper into the green maze. Strange plants opened and closed like mouths. Insects the size of fists buzzed past, their wings sharp as blades. A soldier swatted one down, only for its body to burst into acid that ate through his armor. His scream filled the air as his companions dragged him into the mud to stop the burning. Already, fear spread. Hours passed. Still no sight of the humans. Still only whispers on the radio. Some soldiers claimed they saw figures moving in the distance, shapes low to the ground, too fast to track. Others swore they heard footsteps matching their march, like someone was following every step. Finally, they came across something impossible. A camp. Human-built. But not the crude shelters they expected. This was organized. Walls of metal scavenged from the environment. Weapons mounted on towers. Fires burning in neat lines. The aliens froze, staring at the construction. "How?" one soldier whispered. "How can they build so fast?" The commander narrowed his eyes. "It doesn't matter. We will crush them. Form lines." The alien force advanced. Their weapons glowed. Their formation was perfect. But as they drew closer, silence fell again. No humans. No movement. The camp stood empty, waiting. It was a trap. The ground beneath them gave way. Explosions erupted. Hidden pits swallowed soldiers whole. Spikes shot upward from the soil. Smoke filled the air. Chaos spread. And then, the humans appeared. They moved like shadows, covered in mud and leaves, blending with the jungle itself. They rose from the ground, dropped from the trees, burst out of rivers. Their faces were painted, their eyes cold. The aliens opened fire. Bolts of plasma lit the darkness. But the humans were already gone, vanishing back into the jungle, only to strike from another side. One alien soldier screamed as a rope snapped tight around his neck, dragging him into the trees. Another was pulled underground by hidden traps. The commander tried to rally his troops, but every shout was answered by another scream. These were not wild beasts. These were trained hunters. For the first time, the commander felt true fear. "Hold formation," he roared. But even as he spoke, a human voice echoed from the darkness. "You are not hunting us. We are hunting you." The aliens froze. The words were calm, cold, filled with certainty. A soldier fired wildly into the trees, his blasts lighting the forest. For a heartbeat, they all saw them, human soldiers, crouched low, faces painted black and green, eyes burning with focus. They were everywhere. They were nowhere. The next moment, silence returned. Only the sound of rain and the dying. The commander grabbed his communicator, his claws shaking. "Admiral," he shouted, "we have engaged the humans. They are not what we thought." Request reinforcements. Request immediate extraction. Static answered first. Then, through the noise, came the Admiral's cold reply. Hold position. This is a death world. They cannot last long. Complete your mission. The commander's heart sank. He looked at his soldiers. Their eyes were wide, their breaths ragged. One by one, their pride was breaking. Death world, he whispered. He finally understood. For the humans, this world was not an enemy. It was home. The night fell quickly. Darkness thicker than space itself covered the jungle. The alien force lit torches, but the fire only made them feel more exposed. Strange roars echoed from the trees. Something moved just beyond the light. A scream tore through the camp. A soldier was gone, dragged into the black. Another scream. Then another. Panic erupted. Weapons fired in every direction. But the humans struck with precision. Knives flashed. Arrows flew. Shadows attacked and vanished. The commander realized it too late. They were not in control. They were not the hunters. They were prey. And the humans had been waiting for this moment. By dawn, half the alien force was gone. The survivors huddled together, trembling, their weapons slick with sweat and blood. No human bodies were found. Not one. The commander looked to the sky, whispering a silent curse to his admiral. He now knew the truth. The greatest horror was not the death world. It was the ones who chose to live on it. And they were still out there. Watching. Hunting. Waiting for the next move. The fleet admiral stood in silence on his command ship, the endless stars stretching beyond the viewing glass. Reports from the death world had slowed. What was supposed to be a simple mission was dragging longer than expected. The council had grown impatient. Why no victory report yet? One counselor asked, his voice sharp. The humans are fragile. The death world itself should have killed them. The admiral gave no answer. He stared at the empty screen before him, waiting. He had ordered many wars. He had sent countless soldiers to their deaths. But something about the silence unsettled him. Then, the first transmission arrived. The screen flickered. Static hissed. A soldier's voice screamed through the comms. Requesting backup. We are under attack. The sound cut off. A flash of light. Then darkness. The admiral leaned closer. His jaw tightened. Another voice broke through, filled with panic. They are everywhere. We cannot see them. They strike from the dark. Please, send ships, send. The transmission collapsed into static again. The counselors shifted uneasily. Their laughter was gone now. Down on the death world, chaos ruled. The alien soldiers had tried to hold ground, but the night belonged to the humans. Every shadow hid an enemy. Every rustle of leaves carried death. One soldier sat shaking beside the fire. His armor was cracked, his weapon empty. His eyes stared wide into the dark. They don't sleep, he whispered. They don't stop. Another soldier grabbed him by the shoulders. Quiet. You'll draw them. But it was already too late. A rope shot from the darkness, wrapping around the whispering soldier's throat. He was pulled screaming into the trees, vanishing in an instant. The firelight flickered on his empty seat. The survivors clutched their weapons tighter. Their commander shouted orders, but his voice cracked with fear. His once proud army now trembled like children. By dawn, their numbers had fallen again. Only a fraction of the original force remained. Exhaustion carved lines into their faces. None dared to close their eyes, for sleep meant death. The commander tried to call the admiral once more. His voice was broken, desperate. High command, we cannot hold. This is not war, this is slaughter. They are not prey. They are predators. They are. Before he could finish, the screen flashed again. A human voice cut across the channel, calm and sharp. You came to our world. Now you will learn what survival means. The line went dead. The Admiral froze. His hand tightened into a fist. Never in all his campaigns had the enemy taken control of his own communication line. The counselors whispered in shock. Impossible, one muttered. Humans do not have this level of skill. But the evidence was clear. The next transmission arrived hours later. This one was not from the commander. It was from the helmet cam of a fallen soldier. The footage played across the Admiral's screen. At first, it showed the jungle floor. Mud, broken branches, blood. Then the image shifted. The soldier must have been crawling. His breathing was ragged. His weapon dragged uselessly in the dirt. Suddenly, the camera snapped upward. A shadow loomed over him. A human soldier stood there, face painted in black and green. The human leaned close, eyes cold, expression empty of mercy. The last sound was a whisper. This is our world. The screen went black. The Admiral's blood ran cold. Around him, the counselors muttered in disbelief. Fear crept into their voices. We must send reinforcements. No, withdraw, before we lose more ships. This cannot be real. They are only humans. But the Admiral knew better. He had seen enough. The Deathworld was not killing his soldiers. The humans were. And worse, they were winning. Back on the planet, the alien survivors stumbled through the jungle, their formation broken. Their eyes darted everywhere. Every shadow seemed alive. Every sound felt like a trap. One soldier fell to his knees, his mind shattered. We are already dead, he whispered. This world belongs to them. We cannot escape. The commander grabbed him, forcing him up. But even as he did, arrows whistled through the air. The soldier fell, pierced through the chest. The commander fired blindly, but the humans were already gone. He screamed into his comms again. Admiral, do you hear me? They are hunting us like animals. You sent us into their nest. Do you understand? You sent us. His voice cut into static. On the flagship, the Admiral stared at the broken transmission, his face pale. Silence filled the council chamber. No one laughed now. No one dared to speak. At last, the Admiral whispered, almost to himself. What have we done? For the first time in his career, he felt something new. Not pride, not anger, but horror. Because the truth was clear. The humans were not surviving the Deathworld. They were mastering it. And his army was already gone. The fleet admiral had not moved for hours. He stood in front of the holoscreens, waiting, listening. His soldiers' voices had grown fewer. Each new transmission ended faster than the last, cut short by screams or silence. The council chamber behind him was no longer filled with laughter. It was filled with fear. Leaders who once mocked the humans now whispered nervously among themselves. Some demanded retreat. Others shouted for reinforcements. But the Admiral did not answer them. His eyes stayed fixed on the screen, his hands trembling behind his back. For the first time, he understood the weight of his mistake. Then, a final transmission appeared. The screen flickered. A familiar voice came through, the alien commander on the Deathworld. His face was bruised, his armor torn. His eyes were wide with terror. Admiral, he gasped. You sent us into hell. We are finished. They are not prey. They are not weak. They are hunters. They are. A shadow moved behind him. The commander turned sharply, raising his weapon. A gunshot cracked. The feed went black. The Admiral's chest tightened. His soldiers were gone. Static hissed across the comms. Then a new voice spoke. Not alien. Not machine. Human. You sent troops to a death world? The words were calm, cold, steady. That was your mistake. You did not send them against the world. You sent them against us. The Admiral's hands clenched the edge of the console. The counselors gasped, their faces draining of color. No enemy had ever taken control of their secure line. No species had ever dared speak so boldly. But the humans had. Down on the death world, the truth was clear. The alien corpses lay scattered among the trees, half buried in mud, washed by acid rain. Their weapons had been claimed by human hands. Their banners burned in the firelight. The humans stood tall among the ruins of the alien force. Their eyes were sharp, their faces hardened by struggle. One of them lifted a calm unit, speaking into it. His words carried not rage, not cruelty, but certainty. Humanity does not adapt to your war. War adapts to humanity. His voice echoed into the stars. On the flagship, silence ruled. The Admiral could not speak. The counselors had no answers. They had sent their troops with arrogance, believing the death world would crush humanity. Instead, the death world had revealed humanity's true nature. They were not fragile. They were not weak. They were the masters of survival. The Admiral lowered his head. He had seen many victories, but this was not one of them. This was a warning. 4 days, no new transmissions came. Patrol ships sent to the death world returned with empty logs. No survivors. No prisoners. Only silence from the planet below. But deep in the Admiral's heart, he knew the truth. The humans were not gone. They were still there, watching, waiting, preparing. He looked at the Council one final time. His voice was low, heavy with dread. If humanity rises from this world, if they leave their death world behind, then no force in the galaxy will stop them. The counselors said nothing. Their eyes told the truth. They all felt the same fear. Far below, the humans moved through the jungle with quiet steps. Their traps reset. Their weapons reloaded. Their eyes watched the skies above, where alien fleets drifted nervously in orbit. The death world was their cradle. Pain was their teacher. War was their nature. And now, the galaxy knew it. The final message rang clear across the stars. A message not just for the Admiral, not just for the Council, but for every empire that thought humanity was weak. You wanted to test us. You wanted to see if we could survive. Now you know the truth. Humanity does not fear death worlds. Humanity is the death world. The transmission ended. The Admiral stood in silence. Horror clung to him like a shadow, because he knew what those words meant. The galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had ascended, and nothing would ever be the same.